Imagine standing in the middle of a vast supermarket aisle, shelves stretching endlessly in both directions. Every product you could possibly need is there. But instead of feeling overpowered by the options, you feel stuck. Do you want almond milk or oat milk, organic or non-organic, the cheaper brand or the one with the better reviews? It's a small moment, insignificant on its own, but it speaks to a larger truth about modern life. The more choices we have, the harder it becomes to choose. Freedom, for all its promises, can feel like a weight, a consistent demand to decide, to act, to choose correctly. But why does freedom, something we cherish, often feel like a trap? Let's step back for a moment and look at the bigger picture. In today's world, choice is everywhere. The infinite scrolling on Netflix, the endless profiles on dating apps, the overwhelming job boards with positions that seem to require both a PhD and 10 years of experience. We're surrounded by possibilities. And while that should make us feel liberated, it often leaves us paralyzed. This isn't just a modern problem. 200 years ago, the philosopher Søren Kierkegaard called this sensation angst. For Kierkegaard, angst wasn't just fear of something specific, like a lion in the jungle. Angst was deeper. It was the dizziness of freedom. Imagine standing on the edge of a cliff. The height is terrifying. But what's truly overwhelming is the realization that you could jump. The infinite possibilities, because you create a kind of vertigo, a paralyzing sense of uncertainty. Kierkegaard understood something fundamental about the human condition. Choice isn't just about making the best option. It's about the weight of responsibility that comes with deciding. To choose one path means rejecting countless others. And with that rejection comes doubt. What if I've chosen wrong? What if I've missed out? Fast forward to the 20th century. Jean-Paul Sartre, another philosopher, takes this idea even further. Sartre said, "We are condemned to be free." Condemned. It's a strange word to use for something we see as a blessing, isn't it? But Sartre meant that freedom isn't optional, it's inherent. Every moment of our lives, we are making choices, whether we realize it or not. But with that freedom comes an immense burden, the responsibility for those choices. Sartre argued that there's no guidebook, no divine script telling us what to do. We have to create our own meaning, our own purpose, and that's terrifying. It's like being handed the reins to a ship and told to sail across the ocean without a map. Think about your own life for a moment. How many decisions have you made today? Big ones? Small ones? Did you question yourself? Did you wonder if you'd chosen correctly? Maybe you hesitated to send that email, or spent too much time debating what to wear, or scrolled aimlessly through your phone because every option felt equally meaningless. This is the modern crisis of choice. The sheer number of options we face daily magnifies the responsibility Sartre talked about. We're no longer just deciding what to eat or wear. We're curating our identities on social media, navigating career paths that seem infinite impossibility, and trying to craft lives that are not just good enough, but Instagram worthy. And then there's the fear of missing out, or FOMO. It's not just a trendy term, it's a byproduct of our overloaded world. Every time you open your phone, you're bombarded with the highlighted reels of other people's lives. They're traveling, succeeding, failing in love, achieving their dreams. Meanwhile, you're staring at your coffee cup, wondering why your own life feels so stagnant. But here's the thing. Kierkegaard and Sartre both understood. Freedom is terrifying because it's uncertain. It doesn't come with guarantees. When you make a choice, you're stepping into the unknown. And no amount of planning or preparation can eliminate that uncertainty. And yet, this uncertainty is also where life happens. Kierkegaard called this the leap of faith. To him, living authentically meant embracing the unknown, taking the risk to commit to something without absolute certainty. For Sartre, authenticity was about owning your choices, even when they're imperfect, Both philosophers remind us that the goal isn't to eliminate doubt, it's to act in spite of it. Let's return to the present. Imagine scrolling through a dating app. Each swipe represents a choice, a potential path. But instead of excitement, you feel overwhelmed. How can you possibly know which person is the right one? Well, think about job hunting. You have a dozen tabs open, comparing salaries, benefits, commute times. The abundance of choice doesn't feel empowering, it feels exhausting. In these moments, it's easy to freeze, to avoid deciding altogether. This is what psychologists call decision paralysis. When faced with too many options, we become so afraid of making the wrong choice, we make no choice at all. But what if we reframed how we think about choice? Instead of viewing it as a test, what if we saw it as an experiment? Kierkegaard and Sartre weren't saying you need to get every decision right. They were saying that life is about the act of choosing itself, the courage to move forward, knowing full well that the future is uncertain. Here's an example. Imagine a friend invites you to a party. You hesitate, part of you wants to go, but another part worries it won't be fun, or that you'll feel awkward. This moment, small as it seems, encapsulates the burden of choice. You could decline, stay home, and wonder what you missed, or you could go, and risk feeling out of place. There is no right answer, only the act of choosing and seeing where it leads. Or take a bigger decision, like changing careers. The fear of failure might hold you back. But both Kierkegaard and Sartre would remind you that failure is part of the process. The only way to live authentically is to commit, to leap, even when you're unsure. At the heart of this dilemma is a simple truth. Freedom isn't supposed to feel easy. It's heavy, messy, and often uncomfortable, but it's also what makes life meaningful. When you're faced with the burden of choice, remember that the goal isn't to pick the perfect path, it's to move forward, to learn from the journey, and to embrace the uncertainty as part of what makes life worth living. As Kierkegaard said, anxiety is the dizziness of freedom. And as Sartre reminded us, man is nothing else but what he makes of himself. These aren't warnings, they're just invitations to step into the chaos, to own your freedom, and to create meaning in the only way you can, and that is by living.